All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Max Ball Friday. Let's get into it. 800-3995-69. You want to get in, you have questions for the weekend. You can tweet in at Mac and Cube as well. Be a part of the show there. Let us know your thoughts on what's going to go down, how it's going to go down, what you need to see, what you want to see, questions about how things may play out this weekend. But first, Greg, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Fu and his company have been built on a foundation of trust and integrity. And one thing I also love is just how much inventory they keep on stock all the time. So before I install it, I can go feel it, see it, experience it, touch it. You don't always have that luxury when dealing with some of these contractors, man. So knowing that Fu has it in his store, 40,000 square feet of it, is terrific. And because he has so much, he's able to give it away for very, very more affordable than most other companies. You can get $10 off per box if you order that CoreTech flooring by Shaw. That's durable, dependable flooring, and $10 off per box. You can really stack some savings. So go to fooandyou.com. That's fooandyou.com. You can see all the different options. They have the CoreTech, but they also have several other things as well. Go to fooandyou.com and check it out. It's Shannara Flooring.
All right, let's get into Auburn Baylor tonight, G-Mac. Going to be a massive game. Should be a great scene. 7 p.m. on Fox. Apparently going to black it out. Weather calls for 91 degrees, so all this coolness that we're getting everywhere else, apparently that hadn't hit Waco, Texas. It's going to be a warm one. Auburn favored by 2.5 at McLean Stadium. Let's start with the Auburn offense. How do you think this needs to go early for Auburn to sustain and find a way to win and have success against Dave Aranda's defense?
I think they got to run the football. And whether that's quarterback run, running back run, they got to run them out of some of the +1 overhang stuff. And if they can do that, then they might need to tie an extra guy to the box. And that's when Auburn can take advantage of the matchup advantage they have on the perimeter. I don't want to go into this game thinking we're just going to throw it all over the yard, take advantage of where Baylor's weak. That concerns me. Because while Baylor might be weak in the back end, they are still an opportunistic group that can make life difficult on your quarterback and can force him to chase some ghosts. So I think that's something to be a little concerned about, and I would come out really trying to establish the run. And if they can do that, they should be in a pretty good spot.
I'm with you. I think the run opens everything else up. I think it minimizes. We talked yesterday about how much are you putting on the quarterback, how much are you going to put on Jackson Arnold. He's going to touch the ball in almost every play. A lot's going to be – he's going to have a hand in a lot of it. But I mean that more from the decision-making standpoint. And I would love to get your feedback here. You tell me I'm dumb. Tell me I'm crazy if you need to, if you want to, if that's the direction we go. When I say take more off of his plate as far as how much of the game is on him, Greg, I reference decision-making. I reference reads. I reference progression. Different things like that. And maybe that's sometimes reads in the run game. Maybe that's sometimes reads in the RPO game. That's changing things at the line of scrimmage. Give him some call it and run it. Give him 1-2 throws. Tell him if it's not there on the first or second read to tuck the ball and go. I just think simplifying things for him as far as mentally, emotionally, what you're asking him to do, especially early in this game on the road. Because what do we hear all off season? Got to get his confidence right. Got to get his confidence right. What usually happens with somebody that has confidence issues when things don't go your way early? Has a tough time getting it back. Run the football, run him if you have to early, and minimize his decision-making. Those, to me, would be the keys for Auburn offensively, that you got to find a way to get out there and make your quarterback feel a bit better about things. From that decision-making standpoint, as far as how much is on him, is that a real ask from me? Is that something that you think also could be beneficial for Jackson Arnold in this game?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I want badly for them to simplify the plan with just some simple outbreaking RPOs. Like, I don't think it'd be wise to do a bunch of in-breaking slants and things like that where you're throwing into traffic back into the middle of the field. You know what I mean? I feel like they've used slants and stuff that are in-breaking towards the mosh pit that is the safeties, linebackers, and defensive line. I feel like that's where they make a living. I think it's better to do isolation one-on-ones on the outside that are low risk, that are not going to be catastrophic. It's kind of us or no one situation. So that's how I start with it. Is that how you see it too?
Yeah. I just think that there are ways that you can say, don't even try to check out of this. Don't worry about the protection. Don't worry about the correct run play. here it is. If you don't have the initial route, give it to the back out of the backfield, swing it. Let's go try to pick up 5-6 yards. Don't come up and worry about an RPO. Hand the football off. If it's got to be one specific look for you to potentially get out of this. If it's not there, just hand the ball off. We'll live to fight another day and we'll go. I just want to make his processing quick, if at all possible. And I do think that there are ways in this offense to be able to do that. I think coming to the line of scrimmage, how much you're asking him to do, how much you're allowing him to do, let Connor Lew do the majority of that stuff. And I don't know how fast they intend on going. I wouldn't imagine that they want to ramp up the tempo too much just because of what is new in this offense. And as we stated, some of that processing can slow down when you go fast. It sounds a little bit odd, but when you're going fast, how many, you tell us as a quarterback, Greg, when you're going up tempo, how many play options do you realistically have? 2? I mean, You're usually running the same play, and you have an option to either hand it off or throw it. I mean, there's just not a lot of processing mentally that takes place there. So I would love to see.
Do you like tempo in this game?
Not living on it, no. I don't like tempo for anybody early.
I don't like living on it ever. But
Yeah.
I do think because of their advantage from a depth standpoint, it could be advantageous in this one.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see it because I don't think depth is going to be great for that Baylor defense. And you and I have complimented what they've added up front in this offseason. That's been mass. So you make them run, you get them out of the tackle box, and all of a sudden they got to go get lined up on the scrimmage again with the new rules about faking injuries. That could play into your benefit just a little bit more. So I do think being selective with it at times could help Auburn, especially if they're running the football, man. Like if they pick up some first downs early and you want to hit the gas and go and continue running the ball, I'm fine with it. And if you have the option for Jackson to keep the ball running himself, I'd be good with it. I just don't think going into this game saying we got to win by going fast is how you're going to win this game. I don't think that that's one that you walk away from saying, oh, yeah, we're going to find a way to get this one. But as we go back to it, and you and I kind of had this debate earlier in the week, I'm going to be fascinated to see how Dave plays it. Because I'm just telling you that inside that facility, there are people that believe that this game is going to be one where he sits back and says, and essentially does what Cincinnati did to Dylan Raiola last night. And can Jackson Arnold be Dylan Raiola? Because I've already got people on Twitter saying that he's checked down Charlie and who cares? He was 33 completions, doesn't matter. Most ever in a game for Nebraska quarterback or since however long ago. There are people downplaying that. But he operated the offense and he took what the defense gave him. And
Correct.
by doing so, won a football game. So if that's what it takes for Jackson Arnold to win, kind of can't believe I'm saying this, but I have more confidence in Dylan Raiola doing that than Jackson Arnold. Right now, maybe he's grown. Maybe something's been coached out of him. But if you're going to ask me, you're going to tell me that we need Jackson Arnold to be patient and wait on things when that was maybe his biggest issue last year is when he would wait, it would force the ball to stick to his hands. I don't know if I want that, Greg. And I don't know if I feel super confident in that.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest question mark probably in the entire game is can he be patient enough, especially when they've been trying to kind of coach into him, hey, man, like cut it loose. You know what I mean? Cut it loose. Don't hang on it. Like let it rip. I mean, when you've been told all off season, don't make mistakes, but also be aggressive, that's kind of challenging. That's why I think they'll protect him a little tonight with just isolation RPOs, not the in-breaking RPOs that can be really challenging. I think they'll do some. You have to, because it's how you put defenders in the most conflict by putting in-breaking RPOs. But I also think it's going to be important for him in just the standard drop-back game. Like a lot of Raiola's stuff, they did have some throws like that where he took a couple one-on-ones, but it wasn't a ridiculous amount. He just got to the checkdowns. And guess what? Like, if the defense is begging you to do that, do it. Like, Major Applewhite probably made as big of an influence on me as far as the way I always thought about attacking defenses. And we'd said this on this show a million times. Major would be like, if I hand it to our running back and he gets one-on-one to the linebacker in a run play up the middle and he gains 6 yards, we're going to sit there and say, heck yeah, great run play. Well, if I drop back and I have everybody releasing downfield and you have the running back that's 5 yards downfield and all he has between him and the end zone is a linebacker in a one-on-one, and you throw it to him, the linebacker makes the play, you gain 6 yards, everyone's booing you because you're a chuck down Charlie. When the result is the exact same as a successful run play. You get your best ball carrier, the ball in his hands, and you get him a chance to play against a guy in space in one-on-one. And I think that's something that I would approach it tonight with Jackson Arnold. Like Jim McElwain's greatest line ever. Take what the defense gives you. Eventually they'll give you the game. And that's the ticket. So if you have to start low to high with all your reads tonight, by all means, do it. I mean, you might get bored doing that. I'm not going to lie. It gets a little boring. But it does. But it's effective. And I think that's the way they should approach it.
Yeah, and by the way, I think you just invented a new nickname, Chuck Down Charlie, as opposed to Check Down Charlie. I like that, though. I like that.
You like that?
It feels more like there's more to it. Like, man, he's chucking that thing right down to the back. He's
chucking the thing right. You're chucking that thing 3 yards downfield.
Chucking it right out there in the flat. Don't Chuck Down Charlie. I like it. I mean, I'm going with that from now on. I'm going to go there.
The other thing too, like if you listen back to John Elway, and not like this, I sent me down a whole rabbit hole like when I was playing, and this is a little bit before YouTube, so it was a little harder to find, but I did find it. I think Mac might have gotten it for me. And John Elway, McElwain, that is not Mac, like Jim McElwain.
Not Mac Jones. Mac Jones didn't get that for you.
Not Mac Jones. No, Mac got it for me. I think Mac Jones at the time was probably like 11. So he might have been able to find it on the internet better than me as a 21-year-old, but beside the point. If you listen to John Elway at the end of his career, it was kind of amazing the light that went on for him. He said, you know what? Like when I won my 2 Super Bowls, it was because when that guy was open in the flat, I didn't hold to wait for the guy to come open downfield. I just took the guy in the flat.
Right.
Like I just took it, and all of a sudden we start moving the chains, and I got Terrell Davis, and we're pounding it on the ground. I'm living off play action. I'm living off boot action. I'm living off nakeds. Like I'll take that guy underneath all day long, and I'll stay ahead of the chains. Like that's when John Elway won Super Bowls. Why did Dan Marino never win a Super Bowl? Why did Brett Favre only win 1? Because they could never make that transition. They wouldn't let their ego make that transition to, hey man, I'll take that guy underneath all day long. What they're going to do is they're going to force it into tight windows. They're going to get picked. That's Favre.
I think we lost G-Mac. We'll try to get him back. He's at the minutes suite there.
He was at Minnesota. They lost in the NFC Championship game because he made a terrible decision. And the 5-yard gain. He viewed the 5-yard gain as like a sign of weakness. And Elway didn't. That's why at the end of his career, he won 2 Super Bowls, and why Marino and Favre combined to just have 1, even though from a talent standpoint, they're just as good as Elway and had careers that were very comparable to Elway.
There you go. All right, so some cool quarterback insight there from GMAC, just kind of talking about maybe where this will go, how this will look for Auburn tonight. I want to go to the defensive side of the football for the Auburn Tigers. What's the biggest challenge going to be? What are some of the maybe concepts that we'll see DJ Durkin bring out that could be difficult for Baylor to manage and deal with? We got that one. We got Texas, Ohio State we need to talk about. A little more in-depth on Alabama, Florida State. LSU, Clemson we need to get to. South Carolina, Virginia Tech, Tennessee, Syracuse. Got a lot of Tennessee fans mad at me, by the way, for even saying that game could be close. For saying that Tennessee should even be on alert because you know what the reasoning I've gotten for that, GMAC?
Tennessee.
Look how recruiting stars. So apparently that game shouldn't even be discussed as one that could be competitive because look how stars. And okay, you roll a guy
that Syracuse. This should never happen.
You want to know a guy who plays it the right way, who knows how to manage it, and will check down Charlie you to death and be patient. Is the Steve Angeli, the quarterback at Syracuse? Like, not sexy at all, but like efficient as the day is long. And that's guys like that are a nightmare to play against, man. Like they are. I think that game's going to be uncomfortable. I do. I think Tennessee has a drastic advantage because of how new Syracuse's roster is. But I think if you're to tell me right now which quarterback do I trust more, exclusive of his supporting cast, I probably trust Steve Angeli more than I trust Joey Aguilar. It doesn't mean that he's better than Joey Aguilar or more talented than Joey Aguilar, and he might not have a better game because Joey Aguilar's got better personnel around him. But I do trust him, so I don't envision him losing it. Tennessee's going to have to go out there and win it.
Yeah. All right, so we'll dive into all those games. We got plenty more to get to, plenty more to talk about. Keep it locked for more Max Ball Friday coming up next right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9:19. Right here on Jox 94.5. And we're going Max Ball on a Friday. A lot more to get to, a lot more to discuss, and a lot more games that we need to preview. Quickly, I want to go to Baylor offense, Auburn defense. When you look at maybe what needs to be subtracted, what needs to be the focal point for the Auburn defense, new offensive coordinator for the Baylor Bears. You'll bring in some more air raid tendencies. My understanding, GMAC, though, is the stretch play is not going to go away. And the run staple that has been there in Waco for a long time, and they've run it. I would say that play has been run with more creativity in Waco than maybe anywhere else. Now, there are some other teams that add different wrinkles to all of their run game, but specifically the stretch play with how they've added pullers to it at different points in time, different parts that they've pinned on it. I hadn't seen a lot of people with the creativity Baylor's had in the last couple of years. Now, Jeff Grimes in Wisconsin now, so you're not going to get that there, but they're going to keep the basis of it and let it still be a foundation of the offense. What does DJ Durkin got to take away, first and foremost, in your opinion, to find success against a veteran quarterback in a team that is probably going to come out and look to run the football first, even though their coordinator has an air raid background?
Well, I think it's going to be really important for Auburn to just be very sound. I think they'll be fine on the outside. I'm not super overwhelmed with Baylor's personnel at wide receiver. I do think they have a couple guys that can go for sure. I think there's a few Baylor wideouts that are a problem for that you need to be real mindful of. Like Josh Cameron was a guy last year that did a lot of good things. And I think you need to be real mindful of him. I think he went for like 750. He's number 34. So I would keep an eye on him. But other than that, Baylor's just not a team that you're sitting there saying, yeah, you know what, like this is a huge issue. So that would be my only holdup is, does Baylor have the personnel to go and get it at wide receiver? That I don't know. I just don't know. If they do, then it kind of changes the plan. But Cameron 34 is kind of the straw that stirs the drink. And beyond him, the group is somewhat underwhelming.
Yeah, and it's a veteran-laced offensive line that probably should be able to get out there and establish the run and get it going. A little bit dinged up at running back, so not going to be maybe as deep as you wanted him to be heading into this season. But everything that I'm hearing from the Auburn camp about fall practice, GMAC, is that front seven has been really good, and that the back end may be deeper than people are giving them credit for. I'll be really interested to see the edge defenders in this game, because you brought it up with Central Arkansas, how they decided to play it and how they thought they were going to be able to take it away. Does DJ Durkin implement something similar here? Does he say, hey, Keldrick Falk, blow this thing up at the point of attack off the edge and make the running backs make a decision? And then we have enough confidence in our linebacking core or the other defensive linemen to be able to be in position to make a play and mitigate that. Because if you slow that down, I think you got a chance to really just slow the entire offense down. One area that I do like the Auburn defense, GMAC, especially with what I've heard about Kieron Crawford in his fall camp, is if you can get Baylor in obvious pass downs, I don't think that's a group that can hold up very well with what Auburn's going to put out there and attack with. Specifically with different players off the edge, they're going to go up and back, beyond the line of scrimmage, off the line of scrimmage. And that's where I know DJ Durkin wants to get them. I know that's where he wants to try to live. But it starts with stopping that run game first. And on top of that, you got a quarterback that knows how to get you in the right play, that knows how to direct traffic at the line of scrimmage. And that's extremely valuable in a situation like this.
I don't disagree with any of that. I think that's well said and well assessed. We're on the same page. I think it's really, really important, though, that this defensive front for Auburn, they don't get gashed. I don't think they will. I think they'll be okay. But I think it's very, very important for them to be mindful of, hey, less is more, players play. Don't try to be a hero. Like, just go out there and play well, but don't kind of overdo it with penetrating gaps and doing some things like that. That's kind of the only concern that would just hold me up a hair.
And I'm with you. I think this is more about, for the Auburn defense, GMAC, this is more about being in the correct positions than it is getting blown off the ball. I mean, I don't really see Auburn defensive linemen getting walked out of the hole. I don't see them getting, Peter rolled towards the sideline. I don't see them getting escorted to the bench. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But I think jumping gaps, flying down to the line of scrimmage a little bit too quickly where some of these run plays can bounce and hit different holes, I think that's your problem. And then I'm interested to see how much movement that they're going to keep with their stuff, be it pre-snap and post-snap. How much maybe split zone, how much pre-snap movement from a motion perspective you're going to get, how many jet sweep play fakes you're going to get. Just things like that can steal the eyes of the Auburn defense, because I don't know with what you want to keep from what's been there and you want to add that's yours. I kind of wonder what that's going to be like. So, I mean, obviously there's still a lot of it some Auburn defense is going to have to deal with, but we don't have an idea. And that's – you talk about a game where the iPads are going to be valuable. I mean, this is an iPad game for Auburn, honestly, because Jackson Arnold gets to come to the sideline and see what Dave Aranda's doing. Look, these creepers are not blitzing. Stop treating them like they're going to be coming and make the throw there. Or defensively – stop playing into this puller right here. They're not running the ball that way. Or stop overrunning the stretch play right here. You got to stay home in the backside gap. Like, being able to see, and really on both sides, that part of this game, we hadn't talked about it since the rule was made. That one's going to be huge for Auburn in this game, both offensively and defensively.
Don't disagree at all. I think all that is 100% fair. I think adjustments on the fly in week one in general are so big. And I think that they're well positioned to handle it. I do. They got a veteran group. A lot of guys maybe not have played together, but they've played enough. I'm not going to be super concerned about them making adjustments on the fly. I think they'll be fine there. But I do worry a little bit if they're overly aggressive up front, they will get gashed in this game. And if I just think Baylor's really, really good at making you wrong. And it won't be easy for Baylor to do that at all. It'll be very difficult. But they will make you wrong on a few different occasions. That will happen in this game.
Yep.
You just can't let those gashes turn into 40-yard runs, because Bryson Washington, all he needs is a seam, and it's 88 and out the gate. He is a dude. So that's my only fear, is if Auburn's trying to do too much up front and they're moving a little bit and they're not doing too, and by the way, Sawyer Roberts can run too. Like, he can keep you honest some. So if they're doing a little too much up front, that's going to be a little worrisome to me.
I would be with you on that one. All right, a couple more from tonight, then we'll take a break and we'll come back and jump into the massive games coming up this weekend. Western Michigan's got Michigan State tonight. That's a 6 o'clock kick on FS1. Kennesaw State is at Wake. That's a 6 o'clock kick on the ACC Network. Apps at Charlotte, Bethune-Cookman at FIU, Western Illinois at Illinois. That's going to be on Peacock. Your Peacock? I don't have Peacock, so I can't watch that game. Can you shoot me your password, GMAX? I can.
No, I'll be using it.
Okay, sorry. Wagner at Kansas. ESPN
I can't
Plus.
spare you the $4 for this month. Can't do it.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm
can't pull it off with this equipment.
I'm just going to tell you, I had some problems with getting some games on last night. And I'm just like,
oh no.
The new thing better not be that. That's all I got to say. 7 o'clock on ESPN, Georgia Tech at Colorado. I want to get this one out of the way before we take a break and come back and review the massive games coming up this weekend. But tonight, Georgia Tech at Colorado. I have a lot of questions about Colorado, not as many about Georgia Tech. We hit this game with Stanford Steve. If you want to go back and get that in the podcast, joxfm.com, or get the app. I think Georgia Tech wins this game on offense. I don't think they have to be overly aggressive defensively. Caden Salter's a player. If people don't know, the guy's got great skill, great ability, great tool set that he's going to take into this game, into that Colorado offense. However, I just think Haynes King, that's been a young offensive line for 2 years. I think that group grows up this year. Might not really see it in full force in this game. And I actually think Georgia Tech's a more physical football team. I know the way it always looks. Like, you talk about an iPad game. Colorado's defense, they're going to have to watch some different things and how they're operating in this one. But I like Georgia Tech here. 4.5-point favorite. I think they get the win in Colorado.
I think they're going to smoke them.
Literally. It's interesting that you bring that up, because what may have to happen along the lines of where you just went with that is Georgia Tech may just have to survive the second quarter. It's Deion Sanders yesterday talking about his favorite, or maybe most surprising Colorado football tradition since he's been the head coach?
Is there anything about Folsom, about this stadium that surprised you that you didn't expect?
Yeah. The smell of weed in the second quarter, it surprised the heck out of me. Like every game, I'm like, dang, like it seems like it's like a light up quarter. You know what I'm saying? Like, so is this the quarter that y'all chose? Like, I'm serious, it's a TV timeout, it never fails, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? Because I've never been high a day in my life, so that's kind of new to me.
So there you go. If Georgia Tech can get through the second quarter, Greg, they'll be good. And then they can smoke them.
Well, I think they'll be okay. I actually feel I'm having a hard time seeing how this game is competitive. I just look at Georgia Tech. They're a militaristic operation. And while they might get got at some point this year. That can happen and has and probably will happen again. They are a militaristic operation. And with a big opportunity sitting right in front of them, where a lot of people will be watching and a lot of people are interested in Dion, I would just be really surprised if Georgia Tech doesn't just run it right down their throat. I also think that their additions at wide receiver are legit. I do think Colorado's pretty good in the back end. I do think Colorado's pretty good rushing the passer. But I don't think they're great if you have to anchor down against the run. That's something that concerns me. The other thing, Georgia Tech last year
There's only
is
one
a
team
little
that anchors
susceptible.
down, Greg.
That's a fair point. Georgia Tech is a little susceptible over the top. They brought in Blake Gideon from Texas, and if there's one thing we know Texas does, what does Texas do so well last year? They don't give up big plays. You can't run it on them, and you don't give up big plays. I think he's going to install that quarters system that they've run at Texas for the last however many years, and Washington prior to, and they're not going to give up big plays. So it's going to force Caden Salter to be patient, which I'm not sure he can. Caden Salter against quality competition has not played well in his career. Now, against lower level competition, phenomenal. Against a team with a heartbeat, is not played well. This team has a heartbeat, a big old heartbeat. So I think Georgia Tech's a real live player this year in the ACC. I think they pound Colorado tonight. I think that game's going to get sideways fast.
There you go. That's GMAC on
Do you see
Colorado
it? Do you
and
see
Georgia
it going
Tech.
that way? Am I nuts?
I like Tech. I like Tech in that game. I like Tech to cover. Was it 4.5?
Yeah, I mean at 4.5, wherever it is. Yeah, around there.
Okay. I like it at 4 or 4.5. Either way, I would take Georgia Tech. I like that one.
Love it at 4, hate it at 4.5. Gotcha. Perfect.
Good. Either way, I'll take it at both. I'll take either one. I might take it at 5. I like Georgia Tech. All right, when we come back, the massive games this weekend, we dive into them next right here on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Bill Palladino making an appearance on the show. Say hello to the folks, Billy P. There's G-Mac. Say hey. It's only live
Hi,
radio
Billy.
on YouTube right now. He's bringing me a coffee.
Live radio
Talk
on
about
TV.
saving the day. No, they didn't know how to make it. Oh, Billy found the porch. Billy found the porch. Billy found the patio. You know where I'll be tonight at 7 p.m., Billy P. He found the patio, G-Mac, with all the shout out to the graduate Oxford. I have a patio that's bigger than most hotel rooms with couches, outdoor furniture, and a gigantic television.
And you keep saying
That's where I'll be tonight.
Oxford
Y'all have fun at
hates
your
you.
restaurant. I'll be right there.
You say Oxford hates you, and look at this.
Just saying.
They're trying to make
Y'all
it
go,
up.
Unreal.
Y'all have fun at City Grocery. I'll be right there watching TV, watching games. All right, let's get into some of these bigger matchups, G-Mac. Alabama, Florida State. Is there a part of it that feels super scary for Alabama? The more I look at it, the more I talk about it, the more comfortable I feel about how Alabama's going to operate in this game, what they're going to be in this game, where this game's going to go. I just, maybe the weather, like we talked about, some of the delays, that could work against Alabama, but I just don't see many avenues outside of Castellanos going wild, Alabama misreading a lot of things defensively, and for some reason Ty Simpson melting down, which I don't think a lot of the game's going to be on him anyway. Stanford said he thinks they're going to air it out. I don't. I think they go ground and pound. I think Grubb wants to prove that they can run the football. He wants to get that O-line lubed up a little bit and get them ready for the next couple weeks. I don't see this one as overly problematic for Alabama.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me is the unknown in this game. Gus Malzahn's system is different than Mike Norvell's. How much Malzahn, how much Norvell? How much tempo? How does their personnel look? Like, I don't worry about the wide receivers winning one-on-ones. I like Bama's matchup in the secondary against the wideouts. I do think Deuce Robinson, the 6'6" weapon on the outside, is a problem. But I think Alabama's length is outstanding at corner. And if Dijon Lee at 6'2" has to go cover a guy at 6'6", but Dijon Lee's got a wingspan of about 8 feet, I'm not worried about it. The guy is like a tarantula with his length, man. He just has really, really long arms. So I'm not super stressed about it. So passing attack for Florida State, not an issue. I do worry about broken plays and how Castellanos can create, but I think they'll bottle him up. They're so well coached that I think that they won't allow him to kind of get out in space very often. He's 5'10". If you can collapse the pocket around him, I like your chances. I also don't think Florida State's offensive line personnel is very good. No. I think they're okay. I think they're improved, but not good. As far as Florida State's defense is concerned, I think Alabama's going to be able to run the football against a 3-3-5. Call me crazy. I think they'll be able to do that. I don't care how big the nose tackle is at 340. I'm not going to spend a lot of time being concerned about it. So I think it's a good matchup for Alabama. But like I said, you're still preparing a little bit for the unknown, given the fact that it's week 1 and Florida State's relying so heavily on transfer players.
All right, Domer wants to chime in on games this weekend. He's on the Higginbotham hotline. Welcome in, Domer.
Top of the morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How we living?
Hey, we finally here. We're on the horizon, and there's something else on the horizon. There's a storm headed to South Miami. A lot of rain coming, a little bit of wind coming. But what people don't know, in Ireland, rain is good luck. Rain is good fortune. We pray for rain in Ireland. It brings us Irish blessings. And there's going to be an Irish blessing in prime time in Hard Rock Stadium, where Miami thinks they can out blue-collar Notre Dame. They think they're going to load it up, and they're going to run the ball down our throat. They're going to maintain a line of scrimmage, and they're going to try to play some old-school football. You're not going to be able to do that to Notre Dame. No, Miami should be flash, Catholics versus convicts. They got to bring it back, but they're not that. They're trying to be something they're not. They're trying to copy Notre Dame, and you can't be Notre Dame. I tried telling Bama hater that. You can't be us. You ain't got the people in the lines like we do. So this is what I'm going to say. You know, last time we went to Miami, we haven't forgot what happened. We got destroyed. We got embarrassed. We got mocked. But just like Lou Holtz, the next time that we came down, he said, save Jimmy Johnson for me. And Marcus Freeman is going to have a little something in that crystal ball for that coach. And I'm telling you right now, Notre Dame's going to win an ugly, sloppy game, 24-17, bet the under. The Irish are going to come out on top. Well, what do you think, Cole?
Hey, how about this? How about this, Dumber, real quick? If I were just to ask you a question, who do you think averages more yards per carry last year, Notre Dame or Miami?
Oh, boy.
Well, because you're asking me that question, I'm going to say Miami.
I was surprised by that. Were you not? Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised by
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I just feel like Notre Dame, so good breaking tackles, so good yards after contact. Running backs are outrageous. I mean, they really are. And if you look at Miami last year, they don't really have a home run hitter. Like, they don't have a lot of explosiveness in the run game. They didn't last year, at least. This year, I think they do. The guy number 2, Jordan Lyle, is big time. Big time. And he was number 3 back last year, so didn't get used very much. I think he's the spark that could make this a lot more interesting than some might imagine. Because I was shocked in looking at some of the numbers from Miami last year. We know Cam Ward, we know the receivers, we know the passing attack, we know the weaponry, we know how many points they scored, we know how many yards they accumulated. I was not expecting to see them be as efficient running the football as they were. That was surprising to me.
Well, I'll say this, Greg, and you bring up a lot of points. I want to make myself clear. This is in no way an overmatch. Miami is a very good team. The points you just brought out, people don't realize it. Miami and bringing in Beck could be a game changer. But I truly believe our secondary is going to lock them out. Leonard Moore is, I believe, the best cornerback in the country. Man-to-man is unbelievable. I think you're going to see Ash mixing in a lot more zone last year than you saw, than Golden. And I think this Notre Dame defense, believe it or not, could be better than it was last year, which is very hard to see, but I think it has that potential because of mixing up the coverages. But I will say
if they play zone, that'd be a huge mistake. In my opinion.
I'm not saying a lot of zone. I'm saying mix it up. Golden was almost a little bit predictable with his man-to-man last year, but I would say mix it up a little bit, and I think Ash will do that. But I will say this, C.J. Carr going into Miami in a hostile environment. You know, Miami fans only show up 2 games a year, but they'll show up for this game. I'll say this, if C.J. Carr plays a C- game, Notre Dame can lose this game. If he'll come out there and just take, like what you talked about, take what they give you, take the check down, take the open receiver, read your routes from short to long. Don't go long to short, and that's why I'm worried about him. I'm worried that he's going to look deep and then work his way back short. If he'll work his way short to long, go through his progressions, I think CJ could have a good day. And I think Fields, everybody's talking about Jeremiah Love. Watch out for Fields, receiver we got from Virginia. Big body, one of the biggest bodies, most explosive receiver we've had since Michael Floyd. Early on, if he is explosive and we're looking for him, Miami may not be able to guard him, and that could be the difference. And I don't want y'all to know.
I think that's the guy. I think that's well stated. I think he is maybe the most important player on offense for Notre Dame in this matchup, because I'm still not sold on Miami's corners, and I don't feel like they had a game breaker at receiver last year. Fields can be that guy. Like, he is big time. So if he lives up to expectations, I think a lot of people are anticipating, pound it, run it, all this. I think they'll do all that for sure. They're still Notre Dame. But I do think there is an advantage to be had in favor of Notre Dame with the addition of Malachi Fields. So I think it's all good observation. It's going to be a heck of a game. I mean, the reality is these teams are kind of built similar. And I love that. You know, it's going to be an execution game. There's not some drastic advantage in one direction or the other. It's an execution game. And I think that's a wonderful game to be a part of and call and watch and consume.
Thanks, Domer. Appreciate the call. Also, I love how Domer's first 3 lines were how this can't happen and Miami can't win this game. And then the last 2 lines were how if C.J. Carr plays a C-plus game, Notre Dame can lose this game. So we got the whole gamut covered there. Malachi Fields, 6'4", 220, by the way, was a really good receiver at Virginia last year. 55 for 808, 5 touchdowns. Okay, when we come back, Super Sofa Games of the Week, and we give you our final predictions on the massive matchups this weekend. We'll move to that. First, Craig, tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services.
Well, they're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. And you can trust them in your home. They need your whole home packed up, move your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, we'll give you our picks on the big games next, right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 9:49. We got about 6 minutes to give you everything we can on week one. Some of that will include Super Sofa games of the week here in just a minute. First, I'll tell you about our friends at Your CBD Store. If you're looking to lose some weight, Your CBD Store can help. Your CBD Store has the Trim by SunMed on the shelves now. Largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. They can give you that to get you going. Arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet. What about gut health, skin care? Your CBD Store has those products. They can help you out with that, taking the edge off in the evenings, better focus throughout the course of the day, better sleep at night. Visit one of their 3 locations and see what Your CBD Store can do for you. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleveland, Trustful just off 459. Your CBD Store. They are open where good health hits home. All right, let's dive into it, fellas. We go around Texas, Ohio State, Greg. We've talked about the matchups, what it's going to look like, what it's going to be. Who gets that victory and why?
Texas, Arch Manning. They have a decided edge at quarterback based on the tape from last year. Now, say it might be a totally different guy, but I saw Arch play a lot of good football last year. I have not seen the same from Julian Sand.
I'm with you. I'm going to ride Texas in this game. I think that overall skill favors Texas on offense and defense, edge defenders, receivers, secondary. I am a little bit concerned about with Texas because some of the veterans that you had on the back end going to be gone. And I think the communication there was great. You mentioned it, limiting big plays was something they were fantastic at. Jahdae Barron, Andrew McCuba, a couple of those guys not there anymore. We'll see how that plays out. And I do think Jeremiah Smith goes over 9 receptions in the game still. Tennessee, Syracuse. We've said be careful with this one, Tennessee. A different shade of orange that you're going to get at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. How scary will it be for the Vols?
I think it will be a little tight. I think Syracuse will hang in there. I also think Syracuse had a couple guys up front that were pretty disruptive defensively last year. They're just all new, and I have a hard time thinking that they're gonna do a lot. But I do think it'll be interesting to see what Jonte Cook has. He's now at Syracuse. I think he's got a chance to be a top end guy at wide receiver. So I wouldn't be shocked if Syracuse makes a couple plays, but I still like Tennessee.
I am with you. I think Tennessee squeaks it out because of their defense. I think that defensive line bats a ball down, gets a strip sack against Angeli, causes some problems. They get a score late, but I think this is a scary game. Like we've said, be very careful with this one, Tennessee, because that's a group that's going to get after you. One thing Fran Brown has proven, whether or not you have better players or not, they're going to get after you at the line of scrimmage. They're going to be a physical football team. Do you think Southern Miss actually pulls the upset against Mississippi State?
No.
I don't either. Do you think Kentucky actually gets upset by Toledo?
No.
Okay, I'm going to go with you on that one too. I think Kentucky finds a way. I think year 2 under Bush Hamlin's offensive linemen that have at least been there, even there are a couple of new additions, they're going to have a better feel how to run that thing. I do think they have some backs that can hit home runs, so I'm going to be with you with Kentucky there. Alabama, Florida State. Does Alabama cover the 14.5?
Yes.
I will say yes as well. Trying to get to other SEC teams of note. Before we get to, I don't think Charleston Southern and Vandy or UTSA and Texas A&M, when you talk about Ole Miss, Georgia State, I'm on the call for that one. LSU, Clemson. I don't think the LSU offensive line holds up. If Garrett Nussmeier's not 100%, which some signs are pointing to that in different ways, not just the knee, but maybe the abdomen, abdominals, whatever, the core might be a little bit hampering for him to deliver the football. I think Klubnik takes another step this year, maybe not as big of a step from last year. The Clemson O-line, solid. It's okay if they're not great at running back. They've got the receiving core. I think that defensive line's too much of a problem for LSU, G-Mac. I think Clemson gets the win.
Yeah, I agree. I need to see a willingness from LSU to run the football, take some of the pressure off the passing game. Until I see that, it's hard for me to feel good about it.
All right, let's get to our Super Sofa game of the week. Here's how this works. If you had one, what game would it be to watch? I'll go ahead and kick it off for you guys. It's going to be Auburn Baylor. Yeah, it's Auburn radio. I'm a homer. I know that's where you guys are going to go. I just think there are more questions about these two teams, which could end up being massive positives by the end of the year that we don't know about just yet. I know more about Texas and Ohio State. I know more about LSU and Clemson. There's some things I need to know about Auburn and Baylor. Is that O-line going to be able to push people around? Is Jackson Arnold going to make mistakes? Is the defensive front as good as I'm hearing that it is? Is Sawyer Robertson going to be able to open it up a little bit more with some air raid tendencies now in his offense? And what does Dave Aranda do defensively? to try to slow Hugh Freeze's offense down. I'll go Auburn Baylor, 7 o'clock on Fox tonight is my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa game of the week.
I'll take the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, fresh off a national championship game appearance last year, traveling to South Florida to renew a rivalry that's been dormant for the last 8 years. They haven't played since 2017. It has not been competitive in the past in the city of Miami. I think it's arguably the most intriguing game of the weekend as far as playoff consideration is concerned, because I think Texas and Ohio State, regardless of the outcome, the loser of that game is still going to be very much in the playoff field. I don't know if that's the case for Miami and for Notre Dame. I think they could lose a couple games down the stretch, and this game could be absolutely pivotal. I'll take Miami, Notre Dame, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC.
I am going the Battle of Death Valley, the real Death Valley, between LSU and Clemson, 6:30 on ABC as my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa game of the weekend.
And as for me, it's right there. You get a top 5 matchup. Texas, Ohio State. You can actually listen to it right here on Jox at 11, or you can watch it 11 a.m. on Fox. And if you're going to watch it, you should probably enjoy it on a TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa. You can find your Super Sofa or furniture for the entire home at TD's Fine Furniture, where the Labor Day sale means markups up to 50% throughout the entire store, including markdowns throughout the Flex Deal store. That's TD's Fine Furniture in Summerton.
All right, there it is. Week 1, it's here. Started last night. It goes again tonight. Auburn, Baylor, Bama, FSU tomorrow. I'll be on the call for Georgia State at Ole Miss. GMAXX got Miami at Notre Dame. We're back Monday, 7 to 10 a.m. 3-man front is next.